said she never had a problem with me being around her kids until her position was taken. And we said, and she was like she couldn't believe it. I was just sitting up there like, I looked at them, I said, ain't no way.
Hey y'all, hey. Welcome to the video Love Bugs. It is your host, Queen Blah and more. And we are back, y'all, for another YouTube reaction video on the Akira, Brenay, Tim, and Devin court case. The case is over. Brenay owes $1.75 million to Akira for sleeping with her husband and pain and suffering and everything. But we are going over the old videos, and not old, but I didn't put them out during the trial. Black Goddess was going live giving us play-by-play of what happened in the courtroom, and I'm loving it. Y'all make sure y'all smack that like button. I'm gonna hit play.
Ain't no way that girl said that out her mouth. I promise y'all, right hand to God, I am not lying. She talked too much. She said, I mean, when she was like, that she called herself. I don't think she heard what she said. And then she bucked her eyes and she was just like, yeah, trying to shake it off. Do it again. She holding that paper, that thing, that tab. She said she never had a problem with me being around the kids before her. She said she never had a problem with me being around her kids until her position was taken. And we said, and she was like she couldn't believe it. I was just sitting up there like, I looked at them, I said, ain't no way. Ain't no way in God's green earth we just heard that come out that girl mouth. Yeah, the blink what she was thinking. And then she was like, She was like, I done lost my train of thought. I know you did. I know you did. She said Akira never had a problem with her being around the kids until her position was took.
So, if you guys don't know, Brenay represented herself in court. I don't know. They had lawyers. The lawyers dropped them, kind of like Olivia. They didn't pay. They went to Vegas. They got married. They did all this, but didn't pay them lawyers, right? So she represented herself. And she got up there and said in front of everybody that Akira didn't mind until her place was taken. But her place was taken by them cheating. It's not like they broke up and then he got with Tim and then Akira was like, oh, I don't want her around the kids. No, they cheated. It's a mess.
Baby, I gotta change my shoes, y'all. She didn't see that what happened when you trying to be sarcastic and funny. Tea time, Cardia, I'll be right back. The stuff that we heard in that courtroom, baby, some stuff I wish I had never heard. Never, ever heard. Her mom was saying, let me tell y'all. So then, hold on a second. So then she did this real long, laid out speech. Hold on, let me see before I get there. Y'all had to write in the back of the book. She said the embarrassment was not for Akira, but it was for her. She said the case wasn't based on facts, but she said the case was on facts, not emotions and lies. She said Tim was a credible witness because he lived it. She said multiple infidelity. She was able to say that because of the lady, Korean, and her. Yet she had no proof.
So Brenay was trying to argue the fact that Tim had multiple infidelities. Brenay was trying to say it's not her fault. Tim has cheated multiple times and it's not her problem. It's not her fault.
So I took it when she said multiple infidelities. Come on, y'all, give me the 10 million. when she said multiple infidelities, looked at her. They been looking at her. They were looking at her like this. The judge was looking at her like this. Whew. Y'all, it was a mess. She still kept saying, there's no proof. There's no proof. There's no proof. However she said, no proof. She said their relationship began in July of 2024.
All right, y'all. So that is the end of that part of the live that I have. This was after Akira won, Brenay lost, Black Goddess, and some more of the beautiful ladies, Barbie and I think it's Cassandra or something like that. They all went out to have drinks and then they got back to the hotel and Black Goddess went live. Now Barbie and the ladies are calling again so they can meet back up and, finish their little enjoyment because they did their thing for this court case, y'all. Next is a live from during the actual court case. This was one night after court.
Robin gets up and cross-examines Brenay. She asked Brenay, where is the proof of this evidence that you have that you are making these claims about my client? Brenay say, up here. She did it just like that, y'all. Everybody, when I tell you everybody in the courtroom, like it mostly people from like TikTok and stuff like that is actually there. And people, like even the people that's sitting over there on their side are literally like what Tim say, spectators. Everybody was just like, what? That girl said up here. And then she said, why would I have any messages if I had a conversation with her face to face? So then Robin goes back to the lease. Y'all follow me because baby, it finna get real good. Robin goes back to the lease and asked Brenay, who name is this? Who is this on the lease? And she said, Timothy Montague. Then she was like, well, whose number did you list as an emergency contact? And she was like, Tim. And she said, read that number out. When she said read that number out, I already knew where she was going. So she read the number out, and it was an old number that Tim used. She went back because they kept alleging that Akira messages were not real and were not from Tim, but they had his name, and they also not only had his name, they had the date. It was timestamped, right? It was timestamped with his name, the phone number, and the date. So what happened with the messages is that when she imported it, it changed like the little style. Let me tell you this too, because this happened with the therapist notes. So the therapist was like, they asked her why her notes looked different from the first one. She said during the time they was in an older building, they got a building that was more up to date, and they switched over to a different system, and that's why the font in the messages look different. So then Robin said, what number is that? So she called out the number. I wrote the number down because I knew Robin was finna go back to the messages where Tim and Akira were sexting and use those messages to confirm, and use that number to confirm that this was Tim that was texting her client. That was texting her client. Do you hear me? So then she said on January the 31st, 2024.
Okay, y'all. So if you don't get what's going on, Tim was still sleeping with Akira after Tim and Akira allegedly broke up, right? So Tim cheated on Akira with Brenay. Tim then told Brenay that him and Akira not sleeping together, there's no interest, he don't want her at all whatsoever. Akira is his wife, right? So now they in court, Brenay is representing herself, and they are trying to prove to Brenay that Tim was actually still cheating with Akira, which he was. Child, so he didn't cheated on Akira, broke up with Akira, told Brenay that is nothing going on, cheated with Brenay. She thinks she done won, and he's still going back sleeping and talking to Akira the entire time. Oh, this is messy, messy. And Brenay found out in court in front of everyone. Oh,
Tim was listed on your emergency contact with boyfriend in parentheses. She said the beginning of date of your lease was 2/1/2024, right? She said you have no proof. She said, do you have any proof to show the courts that my client knew that you and Tim had a history back in 2013 and 2014? I don't. She kept saying, well, Mrs. Montague, not over my, she said, over my dead body. So she was like, she got kind of confused as to why Akira would express not wanting to be with Tim, but saying that now over her dead body before anybody else have her name for another woman. Y'all turn the comments on, because how I took that was that Akira most definitely knew. They just didn't know she knew. Well, I ain't gonna say they didn't know she knew. I just felt like she knew. And leading to like the other comments that she had made, or the other messages about how Tim made her feel like he was replacing her with somebody else. You understand what I'm saying? Like, when I tell you that girl, them text messages has been very vital in aiding her in her testimony and helping her with this case. Because without us actually seeing like the pictures, without us seeing the text message, the sexting between her and Tim, like, she really wouldn't have a case as strong as she have right now. So going back to the videos with Brenay, I asked the folks around me, and when we went out on break, I said, you mean to tell me in all 3 videos she was under the influence? Because I was trying to see, was they all from the same night? And from the look of it, they wasn't. So you got 3 videos. The first videos, she didn't even look, he won't say, oh, clearly she's intoxicated. Brenay didn't even look like she looked like she was tipsy, but not intoxicated to the point where she didn't know what she was doing. She was cognitively aware. I'm not opening up. I have too many people on my live to open up a panel. She was cognitively.
Brenay had been recording interactions between her and Tim on Snapchat, on TikTok, and wherever else, because Brenay was supposed to be Tim's best friend. Brenay was Akira's best friend. So that's why Akira was cool with Brenay and Tim being so close at first, until she started noticing stuff wasn't right.
Be aware. You understand what I'm saying? She was too aware. And I'm just sitting up here, but hold on, y'all, because they just Brenay. We ain't gotten, Robin ain't done with her. But I'm finna tell y'all how Robin ate her up already. Robin ate her up. I was sitting in there on pins and needles for her. I was literally in there sitting on pins and needles. When I say I wouldn't care if you and Timothy got together. Told Brenay not to miss out on the Brenay alleged that Akira told her not to miss out on this opportunity. She said that the energy with Akira was so weird. So my question was, well, if the energy was so weird and Akira was acting so weird, why you didn't get up and go home? Why? She thought she had intentions on going home, but you never went. Then she recounted the incident where she addressed the issue with Akira's grandma and said Akira's grandma came, had a conversation with her and told her that she needed to leave and she needed to leave today. And she said, no, Akira and Tim told me that I can stay here. And she said the situation about her saying that I told her that I was living there and that she had been there for weeks was a lie. She ain't say nothing about that grandma saying that there was a pigsty. She ain't say nothing about that because she know we know. So then she was like, I never put my hands on Akira. I would never disrespect somebody like that. But then in the same breath, she came back and said that Akira grandma was brushing up on her. So she told Akira, get your grandma before I hit her. So if you wouldn't put your hands on somebody, she said, because I gotta protect myself.
So y'all, I don't even know how Brenay ended up at Akira and Tim's house, but Brenay ended up at Tim and Akira's house and would not leave. Akira done called her grandma to try to get Brenay out the house, and Brenay still will not leave. Now the grandma bumping up against Brenay, and Brenay talking about, I'm gonna have to slap your grandma. Child, this is an entire funky mess. Brenay is disgusting. That's crazy work. Ugh, you just in that girl's house sleeping with her husband and you refuse to leave? What kind of weird stuff is that?
Yes, Akira blocking Devin showed like how down she was for Brenay. Showed just how down she was. Like she don't want no part of that nonsense at all, period. So I didn't understand why Brenay didn't move. Brenay said she kept telling Tim to have a conversation with Akira about that video when she found out about the video. And Brenay basically wanted Tim to set up that conversation where, she can talk to her, which was so weird because I don't know why she wasn't, just reaching out to Akira so that Akira could talk to her, but she wanted Tim to set that up. That was weird to me. So then on March the 4th of 2024 at 10:35 a.m., Akira wanted to meet with Brenay and asked if she wanted to meet with Brenay. And so Brenay, like she just was too busy. Like she worked like a full-time job, but I guess she worked a full-time job as a content creator. She wanted, so Akira said she wanted to meet with Brenay, and then she asked her if Tim and her were a thing. So she didn't say nothing. Now Brenay used these same messages, right? Because we already heard this in Akira's and Tim's case. Testimony. So she used that and say that, oh, I didn't say nothing back to her. Well, we know that because Akira already said that in her exhibit. Didn't say nothing. Then she came back and said she reached out to Akira first. So that meant she took accountability.
Alrighty, love bugs, this will be our last commentary break. We are nearing the end of the live. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button, smack the like button. We also have a new hype button, and if you are just now subscribing to this channel, hit the bell notification. Make sure it says all not personalized. I'm gonna let you enjoy the rest of the video.
Brenay most definitely wanted Akira to find those videos. That's what I said. Because why would you record that in Tim's phone? Why? She most definitely wanted Akira to find them videos. So Brenay was like, I took accountability. If I reached out to her, that means I took accountability. Tell me why the judge had to stop Brenay, send the juror out, and told Brenay to stop doing all that editorial talking. Then he said, do you know what I mean? She act like she knew what she meant, but the judge must have felt like she did because he gave her an example.